All right, since I didn't introduce you guys, probably we can start with a little bit of brief introduction of yourself as well as the project that you're doing.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Morten. I look after all investments and treasury for Nansen, your favorite blockchain analytics platform. I've been in crypto full-time for about 1.5 years. Before that, I used to trade for a sovereign wealth fund for 8 years. Very happy to be here and excited to answer some questions.
Great.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Philip. I'm one of the co-founders of Sirix Group. I'm a developer myself, so I come from a technical background. Before this, I've been into cryptocurrencies since 2014, and I'm happy we're here today. Hopefully we can learn a lot from each other, and we can also teach you something new from our experience by building these analytics platforms.
That would be great, thank you.
Hello everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Junxiu Guo from Evan, a professional financial management software for crypto assets. Evan offers one-stop financial solution for crypto-native projects, exchanges, OTC, and DOTs. And we are mission to help millions of enterprises and individuals to manage their on-chain finances clearly and worry-free. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Hi, I'm Barry. I'm very pleased to take part in today's panel. I'm Barry from Union. Union is the world's first on-chain trading video. Yes, use our product, you can easily follow smart money and later to trader make money for you. And at the same time, because the application completely integrated, so if you provide the traders or trading companies, I can offer many traders for your product. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Dieter Kranwursch. I'm the International Director of Crypto and Web3 at Chainalysis. I've been at the company for about 5.5 years right now, which makes me a bit of a dinosaur in crypto terms. And as for Chainalysis, what we do, we're the leading Web3 blockchain analytics company, offering compliance, investigatory, and business growth solutions to law enforcement agencies, Web3 businesses, and financial institutions across the world. I only got to Singapore 2 months ago, and I'm happy to kickstart my life here with this conference. So looking forward to it.
Okay, great. First of all, welcome to Singapore. Yeah, let's ask a very general question first. And what are the emerging trends right now in a crypto-driven industry, data crypto-driven industry? Maybe the first question goes to Dieter.
Sure, happy to take it. So it's funny, I keep hearing how we're in a bear market, but if we look at all the innovation, if we look at all the new projects coming up, it certainly doesn't feel that way. And one more thing we're seeing with layer 2s, with rollups, is it's leading to a proliferation of new blockchains, which is very exciting. But what this means is our customers at Chainalysis, they're coming to us and they want data and analytics on what's going on in all these new blockchains. We have a graph that actually shows that whereas Bitcoin used to be 70, 80% of all transaction volume, today it's less than 10%. It's not the only game in town anymore. And while that's exciting, we at Chainalysis, one of our main goals is to fight and combat cryptocurrency crime. And we're seeing criminals moving away from Bitcoin and moving on to some of these newer projects and longer bonds on these newer tokens. So we saw in the past couple of years about a 2,000% increase in money laundering through DeFi. And if you're interested, by the way, check our cryptocurrency crime report for more information. We're still about $3.5 billion being laundered or being hacked away from DeFi decentralized protocols as well. So what this means is that we're in an arms race with these criminal actors in this space, and we need to make sure we have accurate data on what's going on a variety of different blockchains, not just Bitcoin. Now, in terms of what we're doing against that, fortunately, we just launched our new data platform, which allows us to onboard blockchains more quickly than anybody else. We can, for any blockchain we onboard, we can quickly add every single token. We're doing this for BNB Smart Chain. We have Avalanche, Optimism, a number of other chains on the way. And we really want to ensure that by ingesting all this data, by having a wider range of coverage, that there is nowhere where criminals are less safe than on the blockchain.
Great. And how about Alex? I'm sorry. How about Martin from Nansen? What are the emerging trends here?
Yeah, I guess from our point of view, it'd be a bit more related to investors and what kind of trends they're looking to follow for their own portfolio. We're quite excited. I would say maybe we can go as far as saying there might be a new crypto spring coming along. And there's quite a few new narratives, new use cases that's come on this year. And we're here helping clients figuring out and discover which projects and the tokens underlying that are sort of coming on this wave. And I think what's going to be interesting, and we actually just heard this on the previous panel, is around technologies like zero knowledge and even account abstraction. So for us guys here that live and breathe and work on data and analytics every day, that's going to make our job potentially very challenging. And so what we're spending a lot of time on and thinking about is how is the new world going to look like when you potentially have even more obfuscation or challenging to find the analytics that you guys find useful. So I'm going to go on that, but I think we have a few more questions that we can touch base on that one.
Yeah, and I also wanted to dive into the questions. I think this question goes to you all as well in terms of the challenges within this data, and what are the challenges within the emerging trees right now? Maybe Philip, you can go first.
Sure, I'll answer the question. One of the biggest challenges that we have at the data analytics company is our ability to predict a meaningful product that will fit future users. For example, in the case of chain analysis, we were mentioning about the ability to serve all these new chains that are coming up and being able to be leaders by predicting where illegal activity will take place. The problem with this is for regulation and the uncertainty of it. In the case of Nansen, for example, more for the investors or the everyday users. One of the challenges that ZeroScope has is to find the middle ground between a product that previous both type of users. What we're developing is a set of tools where users in the past now have access to more enterprise service analysis tools. So everyday users in the past perhaps they use some dashboard to query some information and so on and so forth, but they're completely alienated from what some PCs can have access to the power and the insights that they have in order to make smart investment decisions, if we want to call it that way. Or, for example, they are completely alienated onto what's happening in regards to regulation because they don't have access to all of enterprise services, like in the case of chain analysis users. Our vision is to democratize data in the sense that it's not just us being able to integrate other tools, but that we're opening the doors and we're taking this abstraction away from people and we're telling everyday users, look, you can also know what the VC firm is doing. You can also know what is happening with the latest hack, for example, and so on and so forth. So we want to find a way where we're not alienating users by the segmentation.
Got it. Tisha, how about you? What are the challenges here?
Okay, and for the financial data scenario, most of the customers face the challenges of the verification of their account ownership. Yeah, and for most of our customers, they have poor organized entities and accounts, making it really hard to do the auditing. Secondly, is the merging from different data sources, especially from the off-chain sources. Most of our customers have bank accounts that they are have a fiat currency transactions, and they have centralized custody, and they have their own business trading system. And it's really hard to integrate this system with their own chain transactions. That's the most two problems we face.
Got it. I think for copy trading and especially we track the smart money, we may face another challenges as well. Maybe Brian, can you explain a little bit more?
Okay, thank you, John. This is a very good question. Everyone who wants to start a business in crypto data field will encounter this problem. I have been working in big data field for 8 years, 4 years in Web 2, 4 years in Web 3. So I have witnessed the evolution of the data field from specific product to professional. I think there are two big challenges for us. The first is a more professional data and the next user to use it and the next user to understand. The user cannot scale. The second is the product model. Business model is not clear. Even if a product has a model, the business model is often affected by blockchain server. So let's figure out how to resolve it. The first thing we should know data itself has no value. The data must empower some industry and resolve some problems for this industry. So it is important to find out which industry you want to empower for your data. Website can empower for many industry. So we choose trading. Yes, data-driven trading. Because we believe that no matter how Web3 developments, trading is always the underlying demand for Web3 users. Yeah. So Union was born. Everyone welcome to use it. You can follow with smart money. The top traders make money for you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, I think most of you cover a little bit regarding the reliance and also the accuracy of the data, which is super important here. And so the next question goes to Morten as well. How do you ensure the accuracy and also the reliance of the data, especially the sources?
Yeah, this is a very important question actually, and I think a lot of retail users sometimes skip over this step. They'll just take things that come up on Twitter or other cases for granted that it's the right data and it's taken in the right context. That's not always the case. And so, a keyword here is quality control. And throughout the last, let's say, 10 to 15 months, the whole industry and everyone looking at us has been screaming transparency, right? This comes from FTX, all the other bankruptcies, even going back to Terra Luna, everyone's asking, where are the proof of the reserves, where are the funds going, where did the funds come from? And to be able to answer those questions properly, you need accuracy and you need to be able to rely on the data. And so I would encourage anyone who makes important decisions, be it for your crypto company or if you're an investor, ask the questions to your data provider. It could be any of us, or it could be, anonymous guy on Twitter. Where's the evidence? How did you find out about that label? Did you just copy it from Nansen? Or, did you actually do some digging? That's increasingly important. And, to make the answer slightly longer, how do you get there? You get there by experience, and you get there by having a large team. All of us have teams, and we have experts in-house that can help you with this. It can help you avoid innocent mistakes, but if you're an institution or someone that could potentially lose a lot of money, not only do you want to avoid innocent mistakes, you also want to avoid the manipulated data. So do take care and consider where your data is coming from, and make sure it's from a reliable source.
Great, great. Yeah, everyone needs to be responsible for their own data, and I think a lot of protocols they carry out some strategy to actually protect the user data as well. So next question actually goes to Dietrich. I just wanted to know, as you mentioned, like there are a lot of like during this trend, there are a lot of frauds currently happening right now. But I just wanted to know how your project adapting to this emerging trend, and is there any like new projects that you can help protect the user data?
Help protect user data, or how we adapting to new trends in the market?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, look, we at Chainalysis, we fundamentally see ourselves, I know I hit on the compliance point before, but we fundamentally see ourselves as a data company. And our customers really rely on us to be able to provide accurate data. We can't afford to tell someone an address is clean when it's not. What we have done, in fact, is build the biggest knowledge graph in the Web3 space, much as search engines did in Web2. So when you look up an address with us, you can see all the transactions that have been related to it in the past. You can even see if that address has appeared on the darknet or on Reddit somewhere or on the ClearNet. But moreover, one area that really helps strengthen our data and make sure that we can identify frauds, like you mentioned, is I lead a sales team, and we have in our pitch deck a slide where it shows we have over 1,000 customers. Now, that's pretty normal. A lot of sales teams will have a slide like that, but for us, it's not a vanity metric. Those 1,000 customers, that makes a huge difference in the reliability and accuracy of our data. Because, for example, let's say we're working with a law enforcement agency in Norway, and that law enforcement agency identifies a scam. They will flag that up to us. We will verify it. We will be able to cluster that address with a number of other addresses. And then let's say in exchange in Indonesia, if they have a customer send funds to an address that was flagged up as part of that scam, we can flag that up for them. So the decentralized nature of the blockchain, that network effect, that really helps to enhance our data network, and the fact that we work with so many law enforcement agencies, regulators, crypto businesses, FIs, really should make sure that we're sitting on one of the most comprehensive databases in crypto.
Great, great. You also mentioned like we have many people coming into this space, and we have a huge amount of data to deal with. One question goes to Morten as well, like how your project leverage the data analysis to actually enhance the user experience.
Okay, I think that some of the key items that we see here is we try and identify 3 use cases with Nansen. And that's either someone looking to discover something, doing due diligence, or monitoring what's going on. And it's been touched upon a bit here as well. So in all these cases, it's either from the user's perspective or from a business perspective, important that they can rely on the data, they have quality control on it, and they have someone that can help them figure this out. So just because the data is publicly available or technically free doesn't mean that it's ready to go. So, there's a reason why we have been here for 3 years. We invented or came up with the idea of smart labels 3 years ago. Now we have over 250 million labels. We have covered more than 95% of all TVL on chain. And we consume over 500 terabytes of data every day. And we have 106 people helping you. So it's very specific to what people come to us for when it comes to data building. But overall, you want something that can surface the signal. And as we've heard throughout the day, there are just more use cases like zero knowledge, for example, that will make it increasingly difficult to solve all of this on your own. And what is actual useful insight that you get now might be very tricky to get in the future.
Yeah, this question also goes to Philip, and from your perspective, what is the most interesting use case using the data analysis in your project?
Thanks for the question. One of the things that we do at Zero X Scope is that we do not only, bless you, is that we do not only collect data from Web3 sources. I think that's a very big limitation to data analytics company that we should definitely stray away from. Web2 data is still incredibly vast, immensely big compared to the data you can collect from on-chain. So with that in mind, Zero X Scope is also collecting, processing, Web2 data, and we combine this with Web3 data to form what we call the entity. And this is a very important concept to understand because it's one of the biggest innovations that Zero X Scope is doing. What I mean by entity is that we do not only care looking at individual addresses or individual transactions in similar popular models such as KYP or major transactions, is that we actually want to understand what are the relations between addresses themselves. Who are the people, people's groups or companies that are injecting or writing this data on-chain. Once we're able to do this, we're able to tell the users and inform them, look, this happened, and we have a 90% certainty that the persons or entities that are behind this activity on chain are related to these other addresses as well. And this is the information we have about them. These are their social media profiles. These are the other projects that have been involved in their past as well. So the way we are able to enhance user experience is by not only providing them Web3 data, but also Web2 sources.
Yeah, I think previously Junxiu also mentioned about like utilizing Web2 data plus Web3 on-chain data and to actually protect the users from the asset perspective, asset management perspective. Can you also elaborate a little bit more on that and how do you use the data analysis to increase the user engagement?
And for the user acquisition and onboarding, everyone has to lower the entry barrier for the finance team to access on-chain data. Firstly, once they type in their on-chain address, they will get instant feedback. And they will get a very overview of their historical transactions. Secondly, we will have them automate all the labeling of their crypto native activities. Lastly, they can generate the compliant financial statements by just one click. So we lower the entry barriers for the financial management to generate reports automatically. And for the engagement, we will help them to get daily updates of their financial outcome. Once they have suspicious transactions, they will get alerts. So we give them really timely feedback to improve the interactions.
Got it. Very interesting. All right, since we don't have any time right now, one last question goes to Dedrick, and also please, talk about what do you see the future of utilizing all this data, and what's the future of utilizing the crypto regarding data and in one scenario? Maybe you can just give us a little bit example, and then we can just wrap this up.
Yeah, sure. In the future, I mean, predicting the future in crypto is quite perilous, but I will do my best. What I can say is, I think we've just begun to scratch the surface of what's possible with open blockchain technology. I think it's a paradigm shift. I was speaking to a member of our training team the other day who was speaking to a law enforcement agent at a big law enforcement agency in an important country, who told them, oh, we don't really trace the Bitcoin stuff because it's all private. It's not traceable anyway. That's still the public perception of what's actually going on with blockchain. And I think there's a lot of different use cases we can still uncover with cryptocurrency data. One I'll touch upon quickly that we've started to do is we've launched a playbook which is using cryptocurrency data for blockchain, for business growth. So for example, if you are a cryptocurrency business and you receive 1 Bitcoin from a wallet, now, okay, that's 1 Bitcoin, they want to trade it. You can actually use our platform to see, but wait, the user that sent it to us, they have a wallet that has 100 Bitcoin, and they predominantly send their funds to another exchange. So they're sending it to one of our competitors. How can we target this user to help grow our business, to help target specific users that can drive more revenue? That's just another use case we have that hasn't really been explored yet, on-chain data for business growth. So as for the future, I can see a variety of new use cases when it comes to compliance, business growth, investigations, and I think we're really just at a nascent stage when it comes to using blockchain data.
Great, thank you all for joining this panel and hope the audiences all enjoyed this. Thank you very much for your time.